War Room Sports, www.warroomsports.com. What? Ain't no more to it.
Cyd Zeigler, he's the president and co-founder of Outsports, and he's a staunch gay rights advocate. When we met him at an industry event in October, we thought he was the most interesting person there in the life of the party. So we're going to bring him on live right now so we could talk to him a little bit about homosexuality in professional locker rooms. Cyd, you are in the war room. How are you today, brother?
The gays are all the life of the party.
The life. We
always bring the music, the dancing, the hot chicks, and the alcohol. That's what we're good for.
Right, and lead the hot chicks with me, and we're good to go.
You can
How
have
you doing,
them.
Cyd?
No, but we actually, Cyd, we thought we were really lucky to bump into you out in Toronto because we had actually done a show on this back in late 2010. And everything we do, we kind of have we do a series because you can never talk about these type of topics in one fell swoop. So we're actually glad to have you on to talk about this with us. So we'll jump right into it. This is Devin, of course. We find Outsports, your company, to be one of the boldest, most interesting concepts in sports right now. Tell our audience a little bit about what Outsports is and how it came about, when it came about, and basically your inspiration for creating it.
We started the company back in 1999 when really nobody was talking about gay issues in sports, and so we created this company to start talking about this stuff. It was really before any big athletes came out, and it was kind of assumed that sports were just a place where gay men didn't exist. Yeah, you might have the occasional guy here or there, but today, it's incredible. Every week there's some big story. Some athlete says a gay slur or somebody comes out of the closet. And so, so we talk about those issues. So we get very, very serious. And right now we're talking about a Cleveland Brown who tweeted a gay slur. But we also have fun, too. We love sports. I'm a huge NFL fan, college basketball, college football, tennis, golf. You name it. So we also have a lot of fun with just sports, talking about,
right.
A 4th and 29 and Joe Flacco is a hot ass.
Hey, Joe Flacco, if you're listening, Cyd paid you a compliment. It is a general misconception, Cyd, that gay people aren't into sports. Tell us about the reception your site has gotten since its inception, and how is it doing in terms of popularity?
Well, it's been great, and we have. It's hard to tell how many people are really reading your site. It could be as low as 200,000 a month, and it could be as high as 500,000. So I'm sure, as you guys know, it's impossible to get a really accurate reading. But there are a lot of people reading Outsports, and the reception's been great. A lot of people, because we do get very serious, and we do break stories all the time that get national attention. But we also do have a lot of fun. It's something I know you guys are figuring out, that combination of talking about just hardcore sports and issues in sports and also being able to laugh is important. So we get people who aren't just gay reading our website, people who are straight. I know that everybody from ESPN, Sports Illustrated, the New York Times, HBO, Real Sports, they all read us. All the media reads us because they know that they can get the best analysis of these issues from us.
Right. I've definitely been on the site lately. And I think it's really interesting and it's really informative. Like you said, you guys cover sports, in a different way, and I think it's interesting.
Well, it's not just, we do talk about mostly gay issues, but when a Dallas Cowboys fan petitions the President of the United States to fire Jerry Jones, we talk about that too, right?
Yeah. Cyd, it's funny you brought that up. You brought up Real Sports because you were recently featured on an October episode of Real Sports with Brian Gumbel, speaking on boxer Orlando Cruz coming out of the proverbial closet and the importance of a gay athlete in team sports coming out. So for our listeners, how important is it for someone in team sports to come out? What would be the significance of that as opposed to someone in the individual sport like boxing?
Well, I think that first of all, coming out in boxing is pretty tough. I mean, your opponents are literally paid to knock you unconscious. So to come out in boxing takes a lot of balls. I mean, oof.
Yeah.
But to come out in team sport, it is a different dynamic because what we hear over and over again is guys are afraid of the gay guy in the locker room. I don't know if they think that he's going to bring in a pack of raving homosexuals or going to rape men in the showers or what, but I don't know what they think is going to happen. But for some reason, a lot of straight guys have this thing in their head that if there's a gay guy naked next to them, something else is going to happen. And what's funny is what they don't talk about is how much straight guys check each other out in the locker room. And straight guys tell me this goes on. They're all constantly measuring each other up. They all know how endowed every other teammate is. I guarantee it. So they're afraid of the locker room issue, so it is a dynamic. But I think what I talk to other athletes who've come out in other levels of sport, what they find is that after the first, second, third, fourth practice, guys realize there's no difference. It doesn't matter, and everybody moves on. So I think But from a cultural, I think that's why it's difficult to lock them. From a cultural perspective, it'd be huge. I mean, it would change the face of sports. It would change the face of the gay community. Right now, the gay community is mostly Modern Family and Ellen DeGeneres and Ricky Martin. To add an active football player to that would be, I think it would be huge.
I think that's another general misconception. Like, everybody think just because someone's gay that they're going to like you.
I'll tell you something.
You may not be attractive to that person at all.
Yeah, there are a lot of football players I don't want to have anything to do with. Listen, I'm a gay guy. I'd take some of the cheerleaders over some of the football players.
No.
I told you guys it was the life of the party, man.
Cyd, this is Akil. Pleasure to have you on the show. I have a question for you. It's clear what the fear is for a gay athlete to come out in a macho atmosphere, such as team sports. And when you hear comments like the ones from Tim Hardaway, can you blame them for the fear?
Well, let me play that real quick. I'm sure you've heard this before. This was big a long time ago, but we'll play them again just to have it fresh in everybody's mind so we can discuss it real quick. I'll just play one of them.
First of all, I wouldn't want him on my team, and second of all, if he was on my team, I would, really distance myself from him because I don't think that's right, and I don't think that he should be in a locker room while we're in a locker room, and it's just a whole lot of other things. So I wouldn't even be a part of that. But it's stuff like that going on, and there's a lot other people I hear like that's still in the closet and don't want to come out the closet, but I just leave that alone.
Yeah, that's not fun.
Yeah, what did you think, like, when those comments first came out? Like, what did you think of Tim Hardaway at the time?
Well, I thought, boy, did he just step in it. And he got fired from the CBA. He was supposed to appear the next following weekend at the NBA All-Star game. The NBA canceled his appearance. I mean, he literally lost every business relationship that he had. And to me, it was an incredible moment. In fact, one of the most important moments in gay history, because a few days before, you had John Amici coming out of the closet. He's a former NBA player. You had him coming out of the closet, and he was widely embraced by the media, by fans, by other players. Said very positive things. Doc Rivers.
Not to cut you off, but did you? I heard a rumor that you broke that story. Did you break that story?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Just checking.
Yeah. John.
Okay.
Yeah. I worked with John to help him come out, and I introduced him to his publicist and all that.
Okay.
But then, a few days later, you had on the flip side, you had Tim Hardaway saying, "I hate gay people," and everyone ran screaming away from him. And I think it was an interesting moment because you saw the culture generally embrace the gay guy and distance himself from the homophobic guy. So I think as a culture-wide, it was really telling. But I do understand to an extent why athletes would be afraid to come out, because there are a few athletes who are very homophobic. But even if somebody's homophobic, the vast majority of fans and players and people in the media, I mean, are you really going to live your life afraid of how one guy is going to react to you? And that one guy, by the way, when I talk to NFL players, and I've talked to over 24 this year about this issue, they all say, even if you don't want to be in the shower with the guy or you don't agree with being gay, if he's helping you win, I just want to win a ring. So I don't care what you do or who you are. I just want to win a ring. So I do understand to an extent some of the fear, but you can't live in fear of one person in the locker room when all this evidence that says coming out is going to be the best thing you've ever done.
Right. Yeah, we've seen the issue. I mean, they try to bring it up on television shows that are about football. Remember the show Playmakers? They had the issue in there. I don't know if you've seen the show The Game. They had the same issue on their football team. So it's like they're trying to bring it a little more to light. But what do you think about Tim Hardaway now? Because he's since apologized, and supposedly he even spoke out for gay rights a time or two. So do you respect him more now, or do you think it was, basically forced and contrived?
I generally try to take people at their word, and I know that Hardaway was crushed in his personal and professional life by this incident. And for whatever reason, whether he wanted to or whether he felt he was forced to, he started working with a local gay rights organization in Florida, and he started talking to people, and seems to me understanding a little better how powerful his words are, and that gay people aren't, we don't have 6 arms and horns growing out of our heads. We're just like everybody else. We're just more fun. So Sid,
you're right, because listen, you brought up a point. To be completely honest with you, I'm an African American male who grew up in the inner city, and I'm from like the hip hop generation, so to speak. And there's some of the most homophobic people that you'll ever meet. So with that being said, a lot of it is ignorance. As you get older and you learn and you meet people, your opinion changes. So a lot of it is ignorance. So, when he first said that, I was like, whoa. But at the end of the day, I would have taken him for his word, because as you grow and you learn, you understand that, like you said, they don't have horns coming out of their head. They're just like you and I. They like sports.
Yeah.
So I think it's more ignorance.
When I talk to rookies in their early 20s, most of them, they haven't really thought about this issue. Maybe they knew a gay kid in college. They're like, I'm fine with that, I guess. It's fine. When I talk to athletes in their 30s and 40s, all of them, they have friends, acquaintances, brothers, sisters, cousins who are gay. And so they've interacted with people. They've gotten to know people, or their wives have friends who are gay, and they've hung out with them, and they all say that, as you get older, you just start to learn that people are people, and if they're going through, what you're going through, struggling to make an NFL roster, then they belong next to you, and leave them alone. So, it's funny. People say, oh, well, I assume the younger athletes are much more gay friendly, but I've found the older athletes to have thought a little bit more about this issue and be a little more open to it because of the life experiences.
Yeah. True. And Cyd, we've heard you say before that you think at this point the fear is unfounded. So do you believe that an openly gay athlete in professional sports especially would be universally accepted? And if so, why?
Well, you can't say universally because, today there are white people who don't want to play with black people. I mean, this is an issue that was settled decades ago, and there are still some people who have a problem with black people or Jewish people or Asian people or white people. So you can't say universally, but the vast majority, every shred of evidence says that the vast majority of fans, the vast majority of athletes the vast majority of coaches and people in the media and Fortune 500 companies. I mean, everything is lined up that the person would get support from the vast majority. Some people would be like, I don't care. I think that would be a lot of people. And then a very tiny minority of people, wouldn't want to shower with him, or might say, why do you have to talk about this? This is supposed to be about football. I will tell you one thing, though, that is super important, and that's timing. If an NFL player came out of the closet 4 days before playing in the Super Bowl, that'd be really dumb, and his teammates would have a very good reason to be upset about it. If you want to come out, I would. A week after the season is over, come out then, because the entire off season, the media and the fans can get it out of their system.
Right.
And then training camp, you get 1 day of questions about it, and then it's done.
Right, because the Super Bowl is probably one of the most over-scrutinized events in sports, so the whole storyline of the game would change if someone did that. And it would no longer be about football. Yeah.
You don't want to be a distraction. You want to contribute. So if you do it at the wrong time, it can be a distraction. I think timing is super important.
Okay. All right, well, Cyd, before we get you out of here, let our audience know where they can find you on the Internet. Give them your website address, your Twitter. Let them know when your podcast airs, which I will be on next week, next Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. As we say in the war room, do your commercial.
Well, Jim Bazinski, my business partner, and I at Outsports, we can be found at outsports.com. We're at Outsports on Twitter. I'm at Cyd Zeigler on Twitter. It's spelled. My parents must have been on crack when they named me. It's Cyd Zeigler. So you can get us there, and yeah.
All right, and I believe Jimmy's going to come. He's going to visit your show along with
the podcast. We tape the podcasts on Thursdays. We post them on Fridays, so you can find it on iTunes or our website next Friday.
Okay, yeah. When we do that, we'll spread it all around to our networks to let everybody know, so they can listen to you and possibly keep listening to you after the fact. But it was great having you on.
Thanks, Cyd.
Yeah, thank you,
like
guys.
I said,
Great having you, Cyd.
again this time next week.
Yeah, no, it's good talking to you guys, and have a good time. I hope the Eagles end up with the number 1 pick in the draft.
Me too. All right, Cyd. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Cyd. Take it easy.
All right. That's Cyd Zeigler, everybody, from Outsports.com.
Kuwait is the war room with 5 nights at the round table, 5 Philly guys